Welcome to another JournalNow.com high school football video. My name is Joe Serrera, and I'm joined today by Oak Grove Grizzlies head coach Mark Holcomb. Coach, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You obviously have a huge game Friday night, second round of Class 2 AA West playoffs. You're playing at North Davidson. Second time in 3 weeks that you'll be playing them. It's obviously a program with which you're very familiar. How tough is it to play someone twice in that short a span with so much on the line?
Well, just them being a good football team, I think presents the biggest challenge. But, our kids obviously have some familiarity with them. Our coaching staffs are familiar with each other. Just coming off of game planning for them a couple of weeks ago, there wasn't a whole lot of, tape to watch. We had 1 week of tape to watch from last week's Pisgah game and then the videos that we'd exchanged prior to. But the biggest thing was just learning from our game when we played them last time.
That was one of the questions I was going to ask you. That was a 17-3 loss, and basically the reason you have to go there instead of them coming to your place. What did you learn from that game that you can take into this rematch?
Well, we have to do a better job offensively. I think we were inside the 20-yard line or close to the 20-yard line about 5 times. Came out with 3 points. We were inside the 10 twice and didn't score. So we've got to be more efficient on offense. We just got to play better offensively, and that starts with the offensive line. And from there on, just executing. We had chances in that game to make plays. We just didn't make them, and they made plays. And I think that was the biggest difference in the game.
Who are some of the North Davidson guys that you have to game plan for when you come into this one?
Well, obviously, Jamarian Dalton's a great player. Tedrick Jenkins is playing at a high level right now, both throwing and running the football offensively too. Jalen Walter's playing well right now, running the ball. They've got a number of receivers that are good players. I think that defensively, their defensive line is playing well. Their linebackers are kind of what make them go. Their linebackers, Darian and Tanner, are very good players. And then again, you throw in, Jalen plays out there too, and then Travarius Moore. Those kids are good players. They're physical players, and they get to the football well.
For folks who aren't familiar with your Grizzlies, who are some of the key guys for your team that folks should be watching for?
Well, offensively, our game kind of revolves around what Aiden can do, and that has a lot to do with the offensive line. We've made a quarterback switch, but we'll probably see both of those kids this week playing. Receiver wise, Seth Blair's kind of a receiver running back for us. He's done a great job. Crew Jones has had a really good past couple of weeks. Connor Sorensen, we hope he's going to be healthy enough to play. He's still kind of in question a little bit. Defensively, we've had a lot of kids that have made key plays. Levi Gates played really well last week. Hunter Greaser and Colin Frank have been solid pretty much throughout. James Rosedal, Max Hester last week had 4 interceptions. Caleb Craven plays for both sides for us as a receiver, punt returner, DB. So he's had a good year for us also.
You mentioned the performance last week at Ashe County, and I know this is not a pleasant topic to talk about, but you mentioned Caleb Craven, what his family went through tragedy last week. How did your guys get through that tough week and put on a performance like you did at Ashe County and kind of lift Caleb up through all that?
Well, I think the maturity of our kids, we handled that pretty well. That obviously was a very, very sad situation. And our kids picked up Caleb as much as they could. And I think, to be honest, I think that might have spilled over into some of the game Friday night. I think people were wanting to do so good for Caleb that we kind of started pressing, and everybody wanted to make plays. And, we wanted to really win that game, for him, for all the things he had been through. And so, he has gotten better this week. He's obviously going to have some ups and downs with this, knowing that his coaches and his teammates are here, knowing that his mom's probably going to get released from the hospital here in the next couple of days. So I think that's helping him. But it was just a lot of raw emotion last week, not only for Caleb, but for a lot of our kids in handling that situation.
And this week, playing North Davidson, the communities are so close. There's so much going on. How do you kind of, deal with the excitement of all of that too? Yes, there's a lot going on that isn't exciting. there is this rivalry, this North Davidson Oak Grove rivalry that you've built this program at Oak Grove. You were such a big part of it at North Davidson, and the communities are just so intertwined.
Well, you want it to be a rivalry. You want your kids to be excited for it. And emotion does play a huge factor in games like this. But, I think number one, we have to realize that we're still a young program, and we're fortunate to be in the second round of the playoffs right now. But we just don't want to be fortunate to be there. We want to go to the third round. We've talked a little bit this week. If we can win this football game, the next game is at our place. And to host a third round game with the option to winning that game and going to the state championship is just, it's a big issue right now, I think, for our kids. And they know what's at stake, and they know they have to play well.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned next week's game. I know you coaches don't generally like to get that far ahead, but one of the possibilities if you win is that you play Salisbury. That's another team from the Central Carolina 2A. How tough is your conference this year when you've got 3 teams this far along?
Well, we don't have to sit here and brag about how tough our conference is. I think that when you have 3 out of the 4 teams in our region still in the playoffs.
And Ledford is a pretty good program too.
Right. Ledford's a good program. They had a couple of struggles this year. But, if the playoff had been expanded a little bit, Ledford would probably be in there. So it is a week to week, a tough, and I think we played the toughest part of it. We played Thomasville, we played Central Davidson, who a lot of people didn't play, and they're just a bear to prepare for. So we told our kids this year, if you win the conference, you've earned it because you play in the toughest teams. That didn't pan out, but we still have a chance to win a second round playoff game and play a third round at home.
What does your team have to do Friday night to come out of there with a win?
We got to be more efficient offensively, especially limit the big plays. If you go back and look at last game, they had a big play to Jamarian, one-on-one ball, and he's going to make those. Those are not really 50-50 balls when he's around them. They're, probably more 60-40 or maybe even 75. We had a major error on special teams where, we had a low snap. We didn't handle the snap, and we gave them short field position, and they scored on that drive. And then, they made an error in the special teams, but their kicker, their punter, picked the ball up, scrambled, and was able to still get it all. So, we've just got to be more efficient and make them drive the football. And then we've got to, offensively execute a lot better than we did.
Sounds good. Coach, we wish you nothing but luck Friday night, and look forward to hopefully seeing you advance in the playoffs.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.